Well, good afternoon. I'll call meeting to order. I've had several requests to get this thing over with quickly, so we'll do that. I have no items from the chairman. I notice there's a couple listed. Do we have anything from any of our committees? Anything to report? Any of you folks? Okay. Item 3 is minutes of the meeting on June 19th, which you have in your packet. It's been moved and second. Any corrections or additions? Please record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Next item is consent docket is to receive the sand mining, oil and gas revenue, and the river corridor events. And I need to make a change on the river events, which is the November 23rd Devon Energy Holiday Parade. Devon Energy is not going to be the sponsor this year, so we need to modify that just to the Holiday Boat Parade. We will have a presenting sponsor, we just don't have it now, so we need to amend that on the 23rd to take that out. And then also when we get to it, on the request for sponsorship, we need to do the same thing, just make it the Holiday Parade. But anyway, I had that correction on that, so entertain a motion to consent. Okay, is there a second? Been moved and second. Any other changes? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Paul, nice to hear you here. Thank you. No, you're fine. Item 5, primary agenda items is first to receive report of upcoming projects. The Eastern Basin, looks like it's going to be, the water will be removed for a few months doing a number of projects. Is you going to report on this, Dennis?
I'll just make a general comment. Obviously, we've got a utilities project, we've got the canal extension, and work on some maps things as well, and we're going to do our best to coordinate those so that they'll be affecting the river all at the same time, and we won't have the water level down any longer than necessary.
Okay. Anybody put you out, Larry?
Yeah. How does that impact the Christmas private parties that might want to use the cruisers?
Well, we assume by that time we'll have sufficient water levels in the other two basins, and we have historically done charters in the Middle Basin and the Meridian Basin. So we don't see it as a problem with our
So
charters.
you just use the other basins for that?
Yes, not a problem at all.
Well, when are you going to close it? After, the 1st of December?
Yes, around the first, after the holiday parade.
So you'll run those parties out of the Meridian or one of the other landings? And people are aware of that are booking these? Okay. Good.
Dennis, is any of this work, the sanitary sewer or any of that, going to be adding things to the area that we might end up having to move for the whitewater course? That's not going to affect all of that stuff in there, is it?
It won't affect the whitewater course.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions on that? We need a motion then to receive the report.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Record your vote. Approved unanimously. Item B is to receive quarterly river cruises update, known as the Mud Bog.
Yes. Well, to get you up to speed, on June 1st, Oklahoma River Cruises made national news when Charles Barkley cruised the Oklahoma River as part of his tour of Oklahoma City. After lunch at Cattleman's, Sir Charles rode from Exchange Landing to Regatta Park, signing autographs and posing for pictures along the route, and he even steered the Pioneer at one point. Our year-to-date ridership on scheduled service is up just slightly, just almost 1% over last year, but it's up 11.5% over the same period in 2010. Efficiency is at 11.15 riders per service hour for the year. That compares to about 9% in 2011 and only 9 riders in 2011 and 7 riders per service hour in 2010. The target is 10, so we're above our target for this year, so we're very happy about that. Year-to-date charters are down 14% this year. Staff attributes the decrease in charter service to the increase in the marketing towards public ferry service. We do have some materials coming out to help promote charters this year. Sunset and specialty cruises are at pace with last year and up from 2010. And part of what drives that are these Saturday sunset cruises. We have a different theme for each month, Saturdays in the month, and that helps drive ridership on those cruises. The positive trend towards adult riders continues. As expected, when summer came, our child riders also went up. We continue to seek partners within the community to attract families, things like Shakespeare on the River, History Comes Alive, and our Saturday cartoon cruises. Scheduled service ridership is flat compared to 2011, but the efficiency is up almost 25%. Again, efficiency is the driving theme for us, almost more than ridership. To get efficiency up to help generate revenue is our primary goal. Ridership overall is down, however, about 9%, and that's primarily due to the charter business. But like I said, we are going after the bridal business. We're doing a special cruise for the leading bridal event planners in the city this afternoon. Last week we connected with the Yelp group, which is another social network that helps promote businesses. And we're also, of course, promoting Holiday Market. On June 30th, at the close of the River Sport Challenge and Stars and Stripes River Festival, we sold out 2 river cruisers, which gave 60 passengers front row seat to the fireworks that were shown at that event. That was a great event. And now for the dam issues. On Sunday, May 27th, one of the downstream lock gates at the May Dam malfunctioned and was determined to be unsafe for river cruiser transit. The Public Works Department placed the lock out of service and engaged the on-call structural engineer firm to provide specifications on a permanent repair solution. With the cancellation of service to Meridian Landing, staff increased the number of trips between Regatta Park and Exchange landings. On Thursday, June 14th, a hydraulic leak in the center crest gate at the Brum Dam caused the lock gates to malfunction, trapping River Cruiser with 15 passengers for approximately 30 minutes in the lock. Public Works pinned the gate shut, bypassed the crest gate hydraulics, and returned the lock to normal operation. The 9 remaining trips that day were canceled, and service resumed the following day. On Saturday, June 23rd, lock gates at the Brum Dam failed to open due to a tripped breaker. The River Cruiser with 21 passengers and the historian on board was cleared from the lock 30 minutes later by Public Works. 45 minutes later, the lock gates failed again, and the River Cruiser had to back out of the lock. The next 7 trips were canceled and replaced with mini cruises in the Eastern Basin. Service then resumed at 6:30 p.m. that evening. A total of 7 trips were canceled that day. In all, 266 trips have been canceled this season due to lock and dam malfunctions. We are monitoring the progress of the dam repairs. It looks like by this weekend, the May Dam will be completed. The Brum Dam will be at least in a state where it can hold water, and we'll begin releasing water again into the basin, and then hope for some rain to fill up the May Basin and give us sufficient water to move those river cruisers. This is the scene early in the morning of July 17th when Gate 1 at the Brum Dam failed and completely drained the Brum Basin. The Devon Discovery and the Devon Pioneer were at the dock, and they settled into the mud. Fortunately, the Devon Explorer was at Regatta Park Landing. It was scheduled to be at this dock for fueling and servicing, but they decided to wait a day to do that, and it was fortunate that they did because we had it then available. This shows you in this slide the normal water level in that basin versus where it sits now, and also shows the Devon Pioneer keel resting in the mud. This is the Public Works crew. It took them less than 48 hours, probably less than 36 hours, to get this gate pulled up and struts in place. As you can see from the gate right next to it, it's also held in struts, And gate number 3 is also held with struts. So of the 6 gates, we have 3 being held by struts. Public Works has a program in place to get these cylinders replaced and to more aggressively monitor and replace the cylinders. As I said, the Explorer was at Regatta Park Landing. So since we can't do any transit trips in order to maintain crews, in order to maintain some revenue generation, we're doing excursion cruises in the Eastern Basin. And we're selling this as the opportunity to go down and see the American Indian Cultural Center. The view from the river is really stunning, and the view of the city skyline and the boathouse district. They have been very successful. We're averaging almost 10 riders per trip on those excursion cruises, which we do 4 per day. On Facebook, we've grown a little over 200 more followers on Facebook. That bottom number tells you that as each one of those people, if every single one of those people just hit like on one of the postings that we have on our Facebook page, it would reach almost 1.2 million users of Facebook. It's a very inexpensive and effective way to reach out, and we've had some wonderful responses from it. We also have engaged the Monarch Marketing Group for our media buying and to do search engine optimization for our website. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
What's Public Works saying about, maybe I forget it, about all the problems that you said you had in June? A number of malfunctions where we couldn't get through the locks, or people got stuck or delayed, or?
One, I understand, was a tripped breaker, so it was an electrical issue, and an electrician had to come down and reset a breaker. Most of the other issues have had to do with hydraulics. When a seal breaks, apparently if a seal breaks in the hydraulic system, it affected the ability of the locked doors to function also.
Mr. Chairman, in anticipation of questions about some issues that we've been having, I asked Public Works Department Assistant Director Paul Bronson to come to the meeting today, and he might be able to come up and provide a little bit more information.
Good afternoon. Specifically, we have 2 what I would consider major projects ongoing at the current time. As Jeannie referenced, we have the lock repair at the May Avenue Dam. About 3 or 4 months ago, we commissioned our on-call structural engineer to come out and do a detailed visual inspection of all 3 of the dams. The oldest dam, of course, is the Eastern Dam. The Paul Brum Dam was final accepted exactly 10 years ago this month, and the May Avenue Dam was accepted by Council in August of 2003. And as one would expect, they're starting to show their age. So I believe it was back in April we commissioned our on-call structural engineer to come out and do a detailed visual inspection of all 3 of the dams, including the structural components, the concrete, and all the hydraulics as far as the gates, both the crest gates and the gates in the locks. We received that report back about a month ago. They provided a pretty impressive report. They've come up with probably about $250,000 worth of repairs that we need to do to all 3 of the dams in total. The repair that's currently being undertaken at the May Avenue lock was identified in that report. I spoke to our contractor prior to coming over this afternoon, and he indicated they will be complete with that job this Friday. And after we test the miter gates on the downstream side of the lock and make sure the repair did what it was intended to do, it's our plan to start transitioning water downstream from May Avenue to the Western Avenue Basin over the weekend. and that'll assist in getting the Devon boats out of the mud. The other major activity we have going on right now, as we speak, we are in the process of removing 6 of the 12 hydraulic cylinders from the Brum Dam. We've had some problems with those beginning last year at this time. The most recent event, did take place on July 16th, where we lost one of the hydraulic cylinders on Crestgate number 1. When that event took place, you're all aware that there's a SCADA system that controls and monitors the water levels and the hydraulic fluid pressures and all of the systems on all 3 of the dams. And whenever there's an issue, whether it's electric, hydraulic, low water, you name it, we get an alarm. We have 2 individuals in the Public Works Department that take laptop computers home with them at night, and they get alarms for things as minor as a broken wire, 2, 3 in the morning. This event that happened in the wee hours of the morning, July 16th, was the first time in 12 years, and we've confirmed it, first time in 12 years of having the SCADA system that we did not receive an alarm. Now, that's not to stand here and say that we could have mobilized forces quickly enough to go and save that Crestgate on the Brum Dam, but if we would have gotten an alarm, we have the struts in place, we at least feel that we could have gotten the Devon boats downstream or upstream to keep them out of their current condition, and at least got one of our boats through the lock to the downstream side to put the struts in place. We did not get an alarm. We're working with our consultant on the SCADA system, and we're in the process of installing a new, what they call an E911 notification system, and all it is a software upgrade on that notification system. But it was just a deal where, as I said, we've never not gotten an alarm until 2 weeks ago. So it was an unfortunate situation. What our plan is now is to take those 6 hydraulic cylinders out of the 12 that are on the Brum Dam. We have a contract with a hydraulic shop over off of I-35. Their truck is on site. We're going to take those 6 cylinders, put them on the truck, and they are going to be totally refurbished. It'll take about a month's time to do that, to get them refurbished, and we're going to have to call a crane back out and install them. So we're hoping at the outside it's going to be about another month until all of the gates are functional again at the Brum Dam. Longer term,
In the meantime, are they going to be up or down?
they're going to be up. They have to be up, and
Okay.
the gates that are not operational are strutted, so we'll be able to impound the water that comes downstream from
When
May.
you have to replace them, you got to drain the water again to replace them?
No, we'll put them in, we'll operate them a little bit, just enough to remove the struts, and then they'll be on their own. Longer term, later this fall, we are going to advertise specifications to go out and purchase up to 20 replacement hydraulic cylinders. We want to have at least 6 for both the May and the Brum Dam, and at least 4 or possibly 6 for the Eastern Dam. So we can begin at least a 2 or 3 year maintenance change-out system where none of those hydraulic cylinders are in place for longer than 2 or 3 years. Again, there are some on the May Avenue Dam that have been in place for over 9 years, going on 10 years, and we haven't had a problem with any of them. For whatever reason, the Brum Dam has been very problematic. We changed out all 6 of the cylinders on the Eastern Dam back in the winter of 08-09, and knock on wood, we haven't had any issues with any of those, but we're convinced, based on our experience, that the only way to assure that we don't have these hydraulic failures is to implement an aggressive preventative maintenance program on those hydraulic cylinders and get those changed out, sent to the shop, refurbished at least every 2 to 3 years. And that's our plan to do that this fall.
Wonderful. Yeah. The Brum Dam's been an issue. I recall, that seemed like that's where we've always had our problems, is the Brum Dam for some reason. Paul's probably turning over right now in his grave. Paul never liked that dam. He never did like that one anyway. No. Do we have any recourse with the emergency warning system with those folks? Or are we beyond that?
Well, I don't think it's appropriate to point the finger at those folks. Those folks have been...
Who do you point it at then?
Well, as I said, that SCADA system has been in place for over 10 years, and we have never not gotten an alarm. I have guys coming to work and telling me I got an alarm 2 o'clock Saturday morning, 3 o'clock Sunday morning, and it was for something as minor as a broken wire. We called our electrician, and he came in and fixed it. Why we did not get an alarm on the hydraulic issue, on the 16th of July, no one can figure that out. But they have recommended that we go ahead and we upgrade to this new software system that will assure that it doesn't happen again. And we're in the process of procuring that right now.
I got a question.
I think the only one I've been gone, but the only one I heard about was the July the 16th. Obviously, there have been ongoing problems.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we need to have a detailed report every meeting of every little breaker that blows, but there's obviously been some ongoing problems there that have significantly impacted the charter situation. And I think it would be helpful to have a little more ongoing knowledge of what's going on.
We can certainly provide you a report every month about issues that have, as Jeannie described, the issues that we've been having with the locks, and any other issues that may come up that are major enough to let you know about them. We can certainly do that.
Mayor, if I could, Jeannie, this would be for you. Dennis and I've had a chance to talk a little bit, but I had a couple of comments recently from some local people and out-of-town people that had a real difficult time down on the campus trying to figure out, where to buy tickets. I mean, we're looking at this sign that says Oklahoma River Cruises. That looks pretty obvious to me, but couldn't quite figure out where to go buy their tickets at Regatta Park. They had trouble trying to figure out where to rent kayaks or what to do. And, we've got such fabulous facilities. I just want to maybe take a look at it from somebody's eyes that aren't accustomed to being down there and make sure that our signage and our wayfinding is all very clear.
Yes, we will. Okay. We will certainly get into that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, Larry.
Question, Paul. You said that you've been assured by this software company that's coming out, that has recommended this upgrade in software, that we will not miss an alarm again. Are they willing to put their money where their assurance is?
Well, as with any software, there's a guarantee, and there's a warranty period. Not to get overly technical with you, there's a software system called Wonderware, which is, from what I understand, it's the premier software package that governs SCADA systems. Okay, and all this is an upgrade to one of the modules of the Wonderware software that specifically has to do with the notification system. And as I said, we've had what I would deem very good success over the last 10 years because we do get all sorts of alarms. Why it did not happen this one time, and again, even if we did, given the late hour, probably the best we could have hoped for would have been to get the Devon boats either upstream or downstream, You know, there's no guarantee that we would have been able to get the struts in, even though the struts are in place in the jump in the bottom of the dam. There's no guarantee that we would have been able to get our boat through the lock, because the Devon boats, of course, have priority over that. We would have gotten them out first, and if we could have got our boat through there and got the struts in place, perhaps we could have saved the basin. But, you know, I mean, I can't sit here today and tell you for sure that we'd have done that.
Do we know if the system failed to detect the failure, or did it detect the failure and fail to call somebody?
It detected the failure, but it failed to notify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Did that answer your question, Larry? No.
Yeah, that's a no.
No, it's a no. There's no guarantees.
I would just like to commend the Public Works staff and the fire department. The fire department sent divers out to assist in placing those struts, because obviously they had to be done underwater, and we had a lot of people out there for working very long hours to try to get that gate back in place.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Need a motion then to receive the River Cruise update report.
So move.
Is there a second? Please record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Adopt a resolution approving $50,000 for our sales and marketing plan for the River Cruisers for 2012, coming from Central Oklahoma Transportation Parking Authority.
Move approval.
To them from OC, yeah. Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Record your vote. Approved unanimously. Thank you. Next one is D, approve a memorandum of understanding between the Oklahoma OCRRA and the WAS Devon Energy Corporation Holiday Parade. Change that just to the Boat Parade and Festival for now, and we'll let you know who the sponsor is later. So with that one amendment.
I'll move the item, striking Devon Energy Corporation.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Last item, or next item E, is ratify action of Oklahoma City Council on Water Utility Trust in approving Amendment 5, Change Order 4 on the project for the roadway, parking lot, storm sewer improvements, water line improvements, sanitary sewer, a number of items dealing with the relocation of the Compass Rose sculpture.
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Comments? Approved unanimously. Claims docket is in your packet.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Anybody have any questions on that? Record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Riverfront Director, I don't see, Pat's not here, is he? Not here today. Question, Mike, I saw in his report, his last paragraph, it says, they're going to drain the basin, which we understand in the year, and then it says, installation of MAPS race course starting system. What is, and what I'm asking, is that going to have any effect long-term on what else happens in that basin? I mean, is it something that structurally is going to interfere with either the cruisers or any other thing, activities? Is something subsurface, or what is it?
No, it's part of our Phase 2 MAPS 3 projects, and what it does is it just provides a connection points for the starting gates that we've purchased.
Below water, is that what, below grade, is that what it is?
Well, yeah, there are piers along the shoreline, so when the gates come in, there's something solid to hook to.
Okay.
And then there's also the same thing for the starting gates, and then everything else is really, it's really shoreline related, you know, at each meter marker. Yeah.
Okay, that's off the one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody have a question, or since Pat's not here, it's kind of hard to ask him a question, but any comments on the report? We need then a motion to receive.
So move.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, record your vote. It's approved unanimously. Any comments by trustees? Citizens? Staff? I now have 1:30. We are adjourned.